back at you with another one. Shout out to my boy Rich. He's like the Jungle Boys of Godzilla figures. He comes with the fire packs of gas, straight gas. This is one that I've been wanting. I've been waiting for. I'm excited about it because I like them. This is the SH Monsterarts Skar King from Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. And let me tell you, man, this is cool. Skar King is a cool villain. I've watched a bunch of reviews on this figure already. And I was really excited for it, you know. And I'm also excited to get that beast glove, boy. We know what we're talking about here. So, I love these protective outer boxes from Bandai Namco, from SH Monsterarts. They're really, really cool. I wish every single one of them would have that because it's nice and it protects the actual box on the inside. So, all right, but let's get this guy out. Okay, so wow, beautiful box right off the bat. You know, it's maintaining the color scheme from Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. But it's making it a little bit more darker. It has those purples in there, but it's adding the red for the evil Skar King in the middle of it here, and it looks really nice. SH Monsterarts, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, Skar King from Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Monsterverse logo, Bandai Namco, and all the rest of the logos on the bottom. You're going to have Skar King from Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire on the side. Same thing on top, on the bottom. And on the other side, you're going to have it, but you'll also have a nice picture of the figure right here. That looks really good. And on the back, we're going to get 3 really nice pictures of the figure right there. Of course, it's going to come with the whip slash. And we're going to get the beast glove for Kong. So that's really cool. And I believe it also comes with a little tool so that you could put the beast glove on Kong. A tool for the ball joint. But yeah, really cool pictures of the figure. I especially like that one, the way he's holding the, he did that in the movie. Did all of these basically, all these poses in the movie. And this is really cool, man. Been waiting for this guy. And hopefully, I think soon, I'm going to be getting the Shimo and the Suko and Mothra. So, which I'm excited about. But I was definitely waiting on this guy, and I'm happy I got my hands on him. So let's get him into the box and get into it. Okay, so now to give you a look at the whole packaging here, of course you're going to have the instruction booklet, which will tell you how to work Skar King's head and the whip slash and hands. And then on the back, it gives you the full instructions on how to replace the arm there and get the beast glove on Kong. And then you have a nice standard clamshell here, which, you know, so cool that this comes with all of these accessories. I don't know. I think Skar King would have sold regardless whether they included the beast glove for Kong or not. You know, not everybody was feeling that business practice by SH Monsterarts, where they make it so that you have to buy the Skar King if you want the beast glove for Kong. The beast glove should have just came with Kong, period. You know, but and then there's other parts of Kong that are coming with Shimo and Suko and Mothra. So, I mean, real shrewd tactics right there. You know, a lot of reviewers weren't necessarily feeling that from SH Monsterarts, you know. But whatever, you know, if you're a collector, if you're a completist, you're going to get it anyway, man. And so we have including the ones that are already on them. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of hands. We're going to get the whip slash here. And then we're going to get another face for Skar King, another head sculpt here. And then you're going to get the beast glove and 2 hands for Kong. And then it also comes with a little tool for the ball joint to get that on. So, really, really cool. I'm excited about this. Let's get Skar King out of the box and check it out. And just to give you a closer look of everything that comes inside the box here. You're going to get the whip slash and all these sets of hands. And of course, Skar King. Very cool. Okay, so here he is straight away, right out the box. Didn't pose him or anything. And I think he looks really, really nice in person. I really, really like this head. I think it looks way better in person than I thought it would. And I think the eyes are really cool here too. Like they're very expressive. I like that you see his fangs on either side here. And I like the grittiness of the paint job. I like it's almost like a flat matte type of paint job on this, which really is cool, and it's kind of fits Skar King, I think, better than a lot of the paint that we've seen on some of them, mostly just Playmates, but that's like a bright red on a lot of them. So yeah, the overall look is really nice right away. You know what I'm saying? I happen to like the color of it, and I really like the way the paint looks on it. So, but just to get let's get some flaws out of the way. One, we could tell, or I could tell already, that the scaling is probably incorrect. You know, he's going to be too tall. He's going to be maybe just as tall as Godzilla and certainly taller than Kong. And that's just not how it was in the movie. Kong was a little taller. So you're probably going to really have to bend his legs to make that scaling look correctly. So we'll see that, number one. Number two, just like with the Playmates, and just Skar King in general is a little skinny around the midsection. So that kind of makes it a little bit harder to balance and stand. And the same way, it's difficult to get the Playmates to balance and stand. So is with the SH Monsterarts figure. But you could get them to stand, like you see here. And then the other flaw, I don't know. I don't even know if it's a flaw at this point, though. Would be, it's almost a Darth Vader helmet head. So we're gonna explore how that functions, but you could see that's just a little bit weird. I don't think it takes away anything from the figure at all, but we're gonna explore the functionality of that. I don't know if I could call it a flaw more than it's just a little strange, but everything else looks good, and it looks like he has a ton of articulation on him. So. I have a feeling there's a whole hell of a lot you could do with this guy. So, yeah, let's break into the review. Let's pose him a little bit. Okay, so first thing I wanted to do right off the bat was to get Skar King in a really nice crawling on all fours pose. And this just looks great, I swapped out the hands for like the crawling on all fours pose knuckles. And his arms are long enough to allow you to really get these crawling on all fours poses nicely, you know what I mean? And I'll do several of them, I'm sure. And also, if you can notice here, the feet functionality, the toes bend down a little to almost give sort of a gripping effect. Which works quite well for poses like this when you try to put them on all fours. I think they grip nicely, and you can really achieve a very nice crawling on all fours pose. That looks great. And, man, I think the paint job is really good here. I really, really like it. I like the shade of gray. I like the it's like a light red. It's like a dusted out red, you know, with like shades of like black or brown underneath, on especially like right here on the arms, and a dusting of it on the legs, on the kneecaps. That's nice, man. You know, the paint job is a grabber on this, to be honest with you, and I think Skar King's fur looks really nice as well. So it's pretty cool, and I happen to like this face of Skar King too. It's kind of nice. You know, we're gonna see how the open mouth head is, because that took a lot of heat. But you know, that'll be further along in the video, though. That's really, really nice. Functionality of the legs is great too. The back, the way I was able to bend the back to get him to stand like this. The articulation on this it seems to be top notch, and it's chock full of it. So, but yeah, let's get further into posing them, and let's talk about the character of Skar King as well. Okay, now that's a really nice pose, man. And I kind of saw this pose online, but and I added the whip slash to it. And I added the open mouth head, which has been a point of contention for a lot of people, because it's not entirely screen accurate to what Skar King looked like in the movie. And, you know, it kind of looks close to the feral predator, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, yeah, people were weirded out by that. I will say this, though. It looks much better in person, you know, than the initial shock of it when everybody saw it and was like, wow, that open mouth head don't look anything like Skar King. This actually looks better than what I expected. But it's not entirely screen accurate, but whatever. That's okay, man. I think it's good enough. And I think, you know, the closed mouth head is good. This is actually the better head. That's the head I'm going to leave on him, you know what I mean? Because it just looks pretty awesome. And, you know, Skar King basically was crawling around like this, you know what I mean? Growling and crawling around. And so I put the whip slash on him, which I feel could have, you know, listen, it's cool that we're getting accessories, so don't get me wrong, but I feel like maybe the whip slash could have been a little longer here. Because as you see, you know, the crystal is right there when you wrap it around him. And that's about, you know, as far back as you could get it to go. You could squeeze it together and try to get it to bend, you know, as far back as you can. But in the movie, it was hanging down by his kneecaps, you know, like down the back. So, you know, it needed to be a few inches longer, in my opinion, so that you could see that crystal down here and not up here by his shoulder. So, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. You know what I mean? You know, I just want to point out the faults of the figure as well, because that's what a good reviewer is going to do. I'm not going to just, I'm not going to act like everything's all peaches and rainbows here. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a flaw, I'm going to point it out. But, you know, what's also important to me is that none of these flaws take away from this figure to me. You know what I mean? It's a cool figure. It's got a dope-ass paint job. It's got quite a bit of articulation, and really nice articulation, man. You know what I mean? The legs could do some nice things. The arms can do some nice things. You get them in these crawling, walking on all fours poses. They look great. You're getting accessories. You're getting the whip slash. You're getting extra sets of hands, an extra head. You're getting the beast glove for Kong. And so all of that stuff makes it worth the purchase, you know? And I just think it looks phenomenal. So let's get him into another pose, and then I'm going to get in a little bit into the character of Skar King. All right? Okay, now this just looks phenomenal, man. Look at that, bro. That's great. Of course, is the famous pose when Scar King points the crystal, which is at the tip of the whip slash, and that's what he uses to control Shimo with. It's basically one of Shimo's crystals. So now, all right, let's talk about Skar King, right? I think Skar King was a great villain. Definitely evil. Probably could have made him a little more powerful in the movie because, Kong and Godzilla basically ragdoll him around. He got in a few good shots on Kong when they first fought, but I wish it would have been even tougher for Kong. You know what I mean? So, but I understand sometimes the villain is a little weaker and he just uses his evil and his mind to, make things miserable for the protagonist. But I think Skar King's a good villain. You know what I mean? And a very, very cool name and cool look to him. Now, when the war between the great apes and the Gojira happened, basically Godzilla imprisoned Skar King in his lair that you see in GXK. So now, what's interesting to me is like he imprisoned him in that lair so that he couldn't try to reach the surface, which was what he really wanted to do. And then they don't really explain to you how he gets control over Shimo. So he's down there with his army of apes and Shimo. But his plan the entire time, since Godzilla basically trapped them in there, was to get out and reach the surface. So hopefully, in the next movie, they maybe go into, or one of the movies, I don't know. I would love if they did one of the movies, The Great Titan War, and just take it back and actually show you what happened. Like that to me would want to be one of the greatest concepts. Like show the Great War, show a young prime Skar King, show how he gets control over Shimo, show Godzilla entrapping them in there, and do it all the way up to the skull crawlers, driving the Kong species to the Hollow Earth and killing Kong's parents. Have it handle the whole Great War and then take it all the way up until Kong's birth, and you could end the movie that way. That would be great, so we get a younger, stronger prime Skar King, but I think this figure looks great, I think this figure has a very, very nice paint job on it. It's really good. It brings out Skar King's fur. I love the detail on the fur on Skar King. On his arms, on his shoulders, on his chest a little bit, on his face. It looks nice. And it's just such a nice shade of red. You know what I mean? It's like a black and red, like a matte red. And it just looks so good, contrasting with that gray. And he's just painted a really nice color. And these faces are well done. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's not a 1,000,000% accurate, that's a damn good face. It's a good facial sculpt with good eyes. Of course, this is the closed mouth one. We'll talk a little bit further about the open mouth one as I continue to pose him. But yeah, I mean, Skar King is a cool villain, and I loved him in the movie. He was a big part of the movie. I felt he could have been in the movie longer. Maybe that's what took away from it for me. He pops up. He doesn't pop up until like halfway through the movie. I don't know. They could have had more evil scenes from Skar King, and I would have really, really enjoyed that. But nonetheless, very cool villain. And, the whip slash, you got to really bend it properly to get it in the positions you want. But it does look nice, and it's a nice touch that we get the crystal on the end of one, because none of the Playmates had that, you know. Matter of fact, the Playmates had it so he holds it from the wrong end, which is just crazy. But that's looking good. So let's continue to pose him. Okay, that looks absolutely excellent, man. Look at that. You can really bend this whip slash a million different ways. And I got to tell you right now, and I got to consider it a flaw, you know. I know there's flaws to this figure. There's flaws to every figure. Um, and that is, it's really hard to pose Skar King and get him to stand up straight. It takes a lot of work positioning the legs, making sure the whip slash is in the right place and the arms are balanced. It took me quite a minute to get him into that position, into that pose. And it's an awesome pose. It's good. You're gonna get there. And let me just say that these feet are a big reason why you wind up finally getting him to stay in a specific pose, you know? It's just the functionality of them. It allows for balance somehow, you know? And here we have the open mouth face, as you can see here. Let's just try to focus on that. And it looks great, if inaccurate, but detail-wise, it looks awesome. The mouth looks awesome. The teeth look cool. The eyes look cool. You know? It's a cool facial sculpt. It just looks more like the feral predator than Skar King, you know? But whatever, you know, we're going to take it. I like it. I like it. You know, like, there's nothing that's not making me like this figure. The faults that it has are not discouraging me from liking this figure at all, you know. I expect flaws. I expect flaws on every figure. Yeah, and I watch a lot of reviewers, so, like, I knew what was coming anyway. I knew what the flaws were already, and, you know, obviously, if I'm willing to pay for it, I'm willing to accept those flaws. They don't outshine the quality of the product, you know, because it does have fantastic articulation, even if it takes, you know, some time to balance him and pose him, but you know, his articulation does allow for the pose, so we're good to go there, you know. All right, let's keep going. Okay, here's another really nice pose, you know, which is copying some of the poses from online. That's how they look, but that looks great. Now, another thing I wanted to tell you is this head, this Darth Vader helmet for a head he has here, comes in 3 pieces. So each time you swap the head out, you're having to pop back in 3 pieces. The face and the 2 pieces that form the head and the back of the head. The top, middle, and back of the head. So the head is in 3 pieces, so just note that, you know. Not going to say that's a flaw, you know what I'm saying? It's just certainly something different. And it's whatever. It's pretty cool. I think it kind of hinders the mobility of the head a little bit. So maybe we can call that a flaw. Because, you know, this, like certain type of poses, like maybe straight out, looking straight out, where like the back of the head, the Darth Vader helmet part gives you a little bit of trouble. But I don't care. I don't care about any of it. I don't care about any of the flaws, man. Look how cool that looks. It just looks cool, man. I'm so happy to own it. I waited a while for it, you know. Like, to me, the paint job is carrying this figure across the finish line because it's really nice. It looks impressive, and I'll tell you what, that looks good, man. Definitely very nice, you know. So, yeah, so let's keep going. All right, now that looks absolutely awesome. That's another picture from the back of the box. I've done, several of them up to this point. But wow, that looks really good. What a ferocious... See, like, when you look at him like that, he kind of does look like Skar King. And the face is not too bad. It's not as bad as those original promo shots, I gotta say. In person, it's much better, And, and yeah, that paint job is just making all up for it. Now, look at that. You see the functionality of the feet? That's awesome, man. That you see the bend in the foot right there? It's for poses like that. It allows you to do that. You know what I mean? Where if they were both flat right now, it might not balance correctly, but because you have this bend in the toes right there, it allows for this pose to happen. And I love that. That looks so nice. And you could definitely recreate that shot where Skar King is basically looking down at Kong, all head cocked to the side, all slick like that. I love that, man. That was a real bitch to get him in that stance, though, and get him to balance it. I will say this about this figure. Like, as hard as it is to, like, balance it, it's worth it, though. You know what I mean? Because so far, there's not a pose I wasn't able to get this guy in. You know what I'm saying? So, even if it takes some time, you're going to be able to get him in the pose. You know what I mean? And that really says something about the articulation of this figure, which I think it's top notch. So it looks really good. I love the shot when they both roared at each other. You know what I mean? That was a great shot. And it's cool that you could recreate that as well. All right, and you could basically recreate Kong and Skar King's first battle inside Skar King's lair. Love that, you know what I mean? That's a great option to post it on the shelf like that. Post it up on the shelf. Fantastic, man. I love that. And, it is a disappointment that the scaling isn't exactly correct with these two, but you could kind of make it look okay if you just, kind of get Skar King down low, put his head down all the way low, spread his legs kind of wide, and stand Kong straight up. You can make it look like Kong is taller. So, that's cool, because right here it does appear that Kong is a little bit taller, regardless of how much you're bending Skar King's legs, but it gives off the appearance anyway. And how cool is that, man? I love it when you could recreate a scene from the movie. That looks fantastic. You can also kind of recreate the scene where Skar King's choking Kong out with the whip slash. Either way, man, you have no idea. I had the patience of a saint to get that pose. All for you guys, because I love you. But yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, now this is a fantastic pose, man, with Kong's axe after Skar King and Shimo basically ran Kong out of his lair. Well, Shimo did anyway, but Skar King got Shimo out, and then Kong ran out of there, and the axe was left behind, and Skar King kind of pumped it up in the air like this in front of his army of apes. And that was just a cool shot. And then Skar King had Kong's axe for a while, But I got to tell you, this figure feels so good in hand. Like, as far as you have total control over the articulation of this figure. Even though it takes a while to pose it, you have full control over it. Kind of like if you've ever driven a stick shift, you know how you have, like, when you get used to it, it feels like you have more control over the car? That's how this articulation feels. It's up to you, you got to have the patience to balance it, but you absolutely can, and it doesn't give up on you, It allows you to really get whatever pose you want if you have the patience to balance him correctly. And he looks fantastic. Right, so now we're going to put the Beast Glove on Kong. And you see this ball joint here? That's what this tool is going to be for. You're going to pluck that ball joint out so that you can put it in here and put the Beast Glove on Kong. So that's the tool that they give you for it. So I'm just going to put it on right now, and I just wanted to show you how to do it. But you pop this arm out, and then you pluck the ball joint with the tool, and you put it back in. All right, now here we go. This is the final product. You obviously can recreate the scene of Kong pumping the Beast Glove in the air, and happy to have it. And of course, it's going to come with 3 different hands. One, of course, is the closed fist hand. We're going to get a gripping hand and an open hand. So that's nice that you could change those, and you know, you could either have them a closed fist to punch with, an open hand to grab, or the gripping hand for the axe, to hold the axe. So that's really cool. So let's take a look at that. All right, now that looks awesome, man. Look at that. This is the hand that could grip, so you can hold the axe while having the Beast Glove on. Awesome, and he did that in the movie, so that's so cool that you could do that. All right, man. Awesome. Let's take a look at the next one. All right, hell yeah. You could create this awesome scene from when the final battle started with the help, of course, of Playmate's giant Shimo, which scales really nicely with the SH Monsterarts Skar King. But I will be getting the SH Monsterarts Shimo. I already have an order in for it, as well as the Suko and Mortho. So I'll have the whole set. And when that comes in, I'll bring Skar King and the rest of them back out to do a comparison. But for now, giant Playmate Shimo is going to have to do. And how cool is this that you can make Kong jumping off Godzilla? Excellent, man. You have Godzilla in the running pose and Kong jumping up off him to recreate that scene when they all jumped at each other in zero gravity. Fantastic, man. That looks awesome. So happy. And finally, we have the open hand here, which looks great. You know, you could have a nice battle scene like that, where Kong's throwing his fist with this hand, and you have the open hand on the Beast Glove, you know. Put the axe with Skar King, and what an awesome pose. That looks fantastic. Very, very cool. Yeah, man, I love it. I love to finally have the Beast Glove for Kong, which just looks so nice. Look at the detail on it. That's fantastic, man. Awesome, bro. Very, very nice Beast Glove. And Skar King looks great. Looks menacing. Evil villain. All right, let's move on. And we can also recreate the scene where Skar King is holding up Suko and Kong just cracks him. Love that. Look at that with the help of Playmate Suko right here. I'll have the SHM Suko soon, you know. But Playmates is a great substitute. And I love that they fit. Like they fit in the gripping hand. So you can recreate a pose like that. That's great. Awesome, man. And you could basically recreate the scene where Shimo freezes Skar King. Kong has him held above his head and Shimo freezes him. And that's basically R.I.P. to Skar King at that point. And Kong just smashes his frozen corpse on the ground and crumbles him into a million pieces. But Godzilla was about to blast Shimo if she didn't freeze Skar King. So Shimo looked at Godzilla, looked back at Skar King, looked at Godzilla, and then froze Skar King. That was great. She didn't want no more parts of Godzilla at that point, you know. Godzilla was a straight menace in that movie, you know. Spreading his arms out like, I'm about to blast you. You better freeze him. So cool, man. All right, folks. That's going to wrap it up for the Monsterarts Skar King. And this is just awesome, man. This is just a hell of a figure by Monsterarts, despite all its flaws. We all know what they are. We all watch reviews. You know what I'm saying? So we knew we were getting it anyway. And you know, it conquers its flaws, this figure. It really and truly does. It conquers its flaws, and it serves you up a nice figure with a great paint job, good articulation, good detail, and a great amount of accessories. And that's a win-win, and it's not that expensive either. You know what I mean? For an SH Monster, I think this figure is priced just right for what you're getting with it. And I love it, man. I'm happy to have Skar King. What a cool villain, man. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I look forward to getting more Skar King figures down the road because I love the character. So, and hopefully we get that original Titan War, the Great Titan War, where we get to see a young prime Skar King and see what he could do. So, but this is awesome, man. I highly recommend it. And like the goddamn video, subscribe to the channel, and go out and get you some Skar King. Peace out, folks.